If you've been watching Nashville home prices over the last 2 to 3 years and wondering if you missed the window, you didn't. But I need to be straight with you about something important. The buyers winning in 2026 are not using the same playbook that they used a few years ago. The market has changed enough in 2026 that if you use the same playbook buyers were using a few years ago, it will actually hurt you in this market.
Things like multiple offers, waiving inspections, paying $50,000 or $100,000 over asking just to get the house, it's just not necessary anymore. And if you're moving here from somewhere else, you deserve to know exactly what to expect in this market in June 2026 and get that correct playbook. And that's what this entire video is all about. So you may be asking the question, why Nashville still? But before we dive into the numbers, I want to talk about something really important to families that are looking to relocate here. You might be comparing Nashville to places like Charlotte, Austin, Tampa, Raleigh, maybe even Denver. So let's quickly talk about what is so great about moving to Middle Tennessee and what is attracting some families here.
Yeah. So first, the job market here is legitimately strong. We added 28,000 to 30,000 jobs just over the past year here. And unemployment is sitting under 3%, which is well below the national average, which is awesome.
Right, it's great.
So healthcare is obviously the biggest employer in Nashville. Tons of companies have spawned off of HCA back in the day. So just thousands of healthcare companies. That's obviously the biggest driving engine of Nashville. But we also have companies like Oracle relocating to the area. Starbucks just announced that they're leaving Seattle for the beautiful skies of Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
And so you just have all of these new companies building their businesses
Corporate
in the headquarters here. It's
a
big deal to have these companies here. So when people locate here, they're not just locating just because they love Nashville. They actually have an opportunity to build a career that they love with these companies that are moving here. So great job market.
Exactly. And next in line with that is that we don't have a state income tax.
Yeah.
And that turns into real dollars and real money that you can use moving here. Especially if you're coming from a state with high tax dollars, it makes a big difference.
Year over year,
back in your pocket.
Year over year, it's just going to add up significantly for your savings, for your investments, or for the trips you want to take. You know, all those things. It's a really big deal in this market, in this climate when everything seems to be more and more expensive.
Yes, exactly.
But honestly, one of the biggest reasons people fall in love with this area is the lifestyle flexibility. You can be right downtown if you want, a condo downtown. Right where we are today, we're less than 10 minutes from downtown, a beautiful park. So you can have a suburban feel in the city, and then you're just not far from getting into Brentwood, Franklin, any of these other suburbs, Mount Juliet. You have the lakes, all of these opportunities. So you can be in the city if you want and quickly get out into 5 acres of land to where it's like peaceful. And so there's so many different options here.
Exactly. And most people, when they think of Nashville, if they haven't been here very much, or they've just been here as a tourist, they think of Broadway, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And kind of the chaos of Broadway. And you can certainly choose that lifestyle. I've sold many, many condos downtown and people love it, and people of all walks of life want that, but it just doesn't have to be that. There are so many options. As you said, you can get out further with land, you can go to the lakes. There's lots of hiking in Tennessee in general. I mean, just an hour drive outside of the city, you have so many trails and so many different things to do if you're an outdoorsy type of person.
Yeah. I mean, you have the Natchez Trace that has just tons of waterfalls and hiking, and then you know the lakes. We have Old Hickory Lake, we have Priest Lake. If you want to drive from hour and a half, you have Center Hill Lake, you have Timms Ford Lake South.
Right,
so
but all doable in a day trip.
Exactly, beautiful. Yeah, and just to put it in perspective, so my wife is from Chicago, and she says that people in Chicago will drive over an hour to go see this waterfall, in quotation, she says, and it's just like usually like a little trickle that's coming down a rock. And so compare that to, I think we take it for granted here because there's just so much opportunities for just to see to get into nature and just to get out of the craziness of downtown living if you want that. So that flexibility.
You can do one day downtown, one day outside of the city.
Yeah, so just so much flexibility, and that's a real reason why people love to be here in Middle Tennessee.
We're not saying it's perfect. With this growth, there are some growing pains and some traffic jams and, things that you'll run into. But for families, there's just so many options. And I think those options are really valuable. The space, the access to nature, the long-term investment. I mean, it's all really appealing and great.
Yeah. And not to mention, the school systems here, you hear us talking a lot about Williamson County as being the best, which I'm sure everyone talks about that, but you have Wilson County, you have Sumner County, you know, the counties
There
around
are,
the area. There's a lot of
yes.
good options for people
Yes,
that
and there's a
you
lot
don't
of
talk
private
about.
schools as well. If you want to go that route, there's a lot of options.
Yeah.
So it's really great. You know, if you're a family, there's options just for all walks of life.
Yeah, it's for everybody. The singles, the young
There's something
professionals,
for everybody.
there's something for everyone
Exactly.
here that you don't get when you're watching Rescue 9/11 Nashville, you know, when they're on Broadway, you know.
I was on that show.
That's right. Yeah, you're on that show. And by the way, we are your Nashville real estate consultants. I'm Scott Hardesty.
And I'm Erin Gillespie.
We are literally out here every single week looking at properties, looking at neighborhoods, giving you content to help you get a better idea of what it's like to live here in Nashville, Tennessee. So we would love to book a call with you, meet you, get a Zoom call. We have people reaching out from our channel all the time.
Yes.
So hopefully you're next. We'd love to meet you.
We just want to give you the most information that we can and really be a resource for you so that you make the best decision moving here.
Can't wait to meet you.
Okay, let's get into it. Let's talk about the numbers and what has actually changed in 2026. The Nashville area realtors just released their most recent data, which would be May 2026, and that is the most up-to-date information that we have right now.
All right, let's get into some of the nerdy numbers for you. So the median price in Nashville rose to about $503,000. So it's still, prices are still going up, even though we have 4.3 to 4.7 months of inventory right now. And our active listings are up now to over 9,800. So we're pushing 10,000 active listings on the market. Sounds like a lot, but really, you know, again, prices aren't really coming down as much as you would expect with having that 4 to 4.7 months of inventory.
Right. And if you're not in real estate every single day, let me clarify a little bit this months of inventory thing. So if you have 6 months worth of inventory, that's considered a balanced market. It's not really a buyer's market. It's not a seller's market. It's just right in the middle. So being at 4.2 to 4.7 indicates that it really is still a little bit of a seller's market. We did a few months ago pop close to that 6-month mark, but now we're back down in the 4s. Doesn't mean that there's not negotiation room for buyers, and we'll get into that a little bit later, but just to put in perspective of where we are.
Yeah, which is different, a lot different than a few years ago, where if something was on the market for 30 days, people would be wondering what's wrong with it, right?
Yes.
And 4 months is, what's that, 120 days on the market, right? So for sellers, that can seem like a long time, or even buyers, you could look at it and say, well, what's wrong with this property? But that's just where the market is right now.
Right. And you also said the average days is 57.
That's right.
And that's up from 50. So that's a big shift when compared to the multiple offers that we were in the first 24 hours.
Yeah.
That type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's actually a fun market to be in. I mean, with the craziness of the 2021 days were just insane. Writing offers on coming soon, sight unseen, just insane things that we had to do for our buyers. And people thought it was fun for us. It was not fun for us at all. So now with this more balanced market,
I prefer this market because I feel like I can protect my buyers more. So if you're coming in from out of state, this is great for you because I want you to get a home inspection. I don't want you to overpay. I want you to know exactly what repairs may need to be done to a house and how much they're going to be, and just be as educated, as thoughtful, as aggressive as we can be.
Yeah.
Now, let's not go overboard, right? Because if you're thinking you're going to lowball and get a crazy bargain, you're not. You're going to lose that house. So this doesn't mean that every house is a bargain or that you can crazy lowball on a house, but it does shift the power dynamic back towards the middle.
Yeah, exactly. I think sellers in this market are expecting you to negotiate.
Yes, they're going to be reasonable. They're going to take their time with you.
Right.
And I feel better about that as an agent. I enjoy that more, and I can build that relationship and really feel like I'm helping my buyers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I mean, you know, houses aren't flying off the shelf like they were then. It's not as crazy, but it's important to know that the projections are that home values are actually going to go up 2 to 4% this year
for 2026.
Right? And that's not even really counting the urban core, which is probably going to go up more than that. If you get into Williamson County, Brentwood, Franklin, probably more than that. So while we are seeing price cuts and price drops, to come in and think that you're going to just lowball every single property, it's just not realistic right now. So it's important to have this data and know okay. And also, it's also a way to protect you. What's reasonable on the offer, but also to feel better about your investment that, you know, the market's not crashing right now. We're going 2 to 4% increase, and so it's a good place to invest your money right now.
Right. And so that is essentially myth number 1 busted.
Yep.
The myth being that Nashville is still in full panic buyer mode. We're not.
Yeah, not seeing a crash anytime soon. So Nashville is not crashing, which was myth number 2. We just discussed it. And I want to tell you why I think that is the reason, because a lot of other areas in the country are having a hard time right now.
Right.
But I was actually in Florida during the 2008-2009 crash.
Big crash.
It was literally houses that were going for $250,000, $300,000 were going for $12,000. Builders were leaving projects halfway built. They just abandoned them. People were abandoning their homes. It was insane what happened.
That's a really tough thing.
It is. And I actually moved back to Nashville in 2010, kind of still in the middle of it. And I was like, you know what? It's not that bad here. It was bad. Obviously, a lot of people lost their homes, but it was nothing.
It hurt, but it wasn't devastating.
It was nothing like Florida and California, all these places. So, and I think the reason why that is because of the healthcare engine is so strong here, keeps things moving. And then again, we already discussed this. I don't want to, the Oracle,
jobs,
the Starbucks.
There's a lot of money being pumped into Nashville right now from developers.
Yeah, I mean, we're pro-business, and when you don't have a state income tax, it really matters when you're trying to protect your asset, protect your investment. So just to give you some, faith in the reason why buying a home here is still a good investment. Of course, we can't predict the future, but even if the market does take a dip, it's not going to be as significant as places like Florida and
I tend to agree.
California. So something to keep in mind. So no crash coming in the foreseeable future that we can see.
Yep. Myth number 3 is that there's now so much inventory in Nashville that you can really take your time and just dilly-dally around. And I'm going to go ahead and say no, you cannot. It really depends heavily on the micro market, but you still need to be aggressive. If you're looking at a lake house or something that's really well maintained and priced right, those houses are selling, so it may be a little bit more relaxed, but if you're too relaxed, you're going to miss it.
Yeah, exactly. And even some of the more expensive homes, 2 million plus, are actually moving faster than some of the ones under $1 million right now. But I have a listing right now in East Nashville where the agent's on vacation, and she's like, hey, maybe I want to have a client interested. They want to come see it in a couple weeks. I was like, yes,
a couple weeks when I get back from vacation.
Yeah. I was like, we actually just got an offer today, so if you want your buyer to see it, right? So you could have something sit on the market and then you get multiple offers. So it's important if you need to know what you want ahead of time, right? And then when you see it, don't wait, just jump on it. Yeah,
that's exactly right. That brings us to myth number 4, that if I just wait a little bit longer, prices will fall dramatically. Again, I'm going to say no on that.
It's not happening.
We're not forecasting a crash. What we're seeing is normalization, a balanced market.
Yeah, exactly. And really, the buyers who are winning right now are the ones who know what they want. And when they see it, they act decisively. Again, you want to negotiate. You don't want to come in and just offer full price. Negotiate, but be ready to accept when it hits that criteria. Because the worst thing that can happen is another offer comes in while you're negotiating and you lose all negotiating power. Because then you have no idea what the other buyer is offering. And so you could potentially lose out on that. Or you have to go up. You're like, oh, I actually really wanted this house. Now you got to go up and potentially lose out on that negotiating power. So act decisively when you see something that you like, because again, that the values are going to be going up over the next year, couple years at least.
Right. This next part of the video is one of the most important parts. We talked about it a little bit earlier, where there are subcategories within Nashville and kind of subsections, but now we're going to break some of those most popular areas down, because they are very different, both in lifestyle, in pricing, in negotiations, in every way.
Yeah.
Here's our brief and practical breakdown. So number 1 would be Williamson County. That's going to be Brentwood, Franklin, Thompson Station, Nolensville, that kind of general area. This is still one of the strongest, most popular areas, and one that really holds its value through the long term. It has excellent schools, long-term appreciation, and a polished suburban lifestyle.
Obviously, you've heard about Williamson County, so we don't need to, we talk about it all the time anyways. Another one is Wilson County, so this is just east of the city. You have Mount Juliet, you have Lebanon, and that surrounding area growing quickly. Wilson County is also known for its strong public school system. Again, that's kind of one that it's under the radar for a lot of people, but affordability is there versus Williamson County.
Right.
You still have that suburban feel. You have Providence, which is just like this entire shopping and groceries, movie theater, everything you need. Like, it's like they dropped it right in the middle of a farm. And there's so much more that's happening in Mount Juliet. Keep an eye on that. They're actually about to revamp their entire downtown area. They don't have like a historical downtown like Franklin does.
Okay.
They are spending a lot of money to create like a downtown. So, and then there's just hundreds, if not thousands of homes that are being developed now. And they're doing it in a way that doesn't affect traffic as much. They have new ramps that are going to be coming in. And so they're doing it I think they're doing it in a smarter way than some other areas do. They're trying to control the growth. Exactly. They shoot down some of the plans that don't make sense, or that are on like a 2-lane road where there's nowhere for the traffic to go.
And you can do that when you're your own county and you're not Davidson County. Davidson County is so big, it gets a little bit crazy. But when you're a little bit smaller, Wilson County, you can make sense of things a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. So don't sleep on Wilson County.
The next one is Rutherford County, which is basically Murfreesboro and the surrounding areas around Murfreesboro.
Yeah, a little bit of Smyrna.
It's its own city. It's about an hour outside of Nashville, 45 minutes to an hour. This is going to be a more affordable price point, or entry point. But they do have some luxury homes there, but you're going to get more bang for your buck.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's still, they still have good schools. It's still family oriented, and it still has a good vibe. Just very different from Nashville.
Yeah, very different, but it's also one of the fastest growing cities in the country.
Right, there's a lot of new construction happening there. If you work in Nashville, you have to be prepared for that commute. 24 can be rough sometimes with traffic, but
probably the worst. Honestly, probably the worst.
I was trying to be nice about it, but
it's probably the worst interstate. Yeah, let's be honest here.
But the trade-off is that you can get the price point for housing is going to be better.
Yeah,
there.
Exactly. And again, you have MTSU, Middle Tennessee State University there. You have a lot of hospitals, a lot of healthcare industries there as well. So
right. It's a good city.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so definitely worth checking out. And of course, the other one is right here in Davidson County. You have that urban core. You have downtown Broadway. Then you have East Nashville. You have Germantown. You have 12 South. You have Green Hills inside of the city.
So many different regions within Nashville.
If you've seen some of our other videos, we recommend coming to the area and spending a minimum of 3 days to really get a good idea. We have our 3-day
plan.
3-day plan to help you figure out where you want to narrow down the places, and then we can get to work to actually find the specific house. But there's so many different areas.
And each area has a different vibe to it as well. I mean, we're sitting in 12 South right now, but just up the road, 5-minute walk from this park, it's a very different vibe. So it's really good for us to be able to show you and match the vibe that you're looking for.
Yeah, and all these pockets are little, like microcosms of their own real estate market and what's happening inside each market. They're all so very different. So it's important to take some time to digest what's happening in each market before you make an offer. All right, so let's dive back into the luxury homes. We briefly mentioned the 2 million plus as moving pretty quickly, but we do see a lot more inventory right now. Places like Oak Hill, Belmead, Green Hills, Forest Hills. A lot of these places, we do a lot of our videos and our content are around these properties that we work with. But you are seeing some opportunities there. Even though there's a lot of people purchasing those properties, it still gives you some room to negotiate and to get into these houses with some things that you want.
Right, and so maybe some more options. So you still be prepared to pay between maybe $2 and $5 million for these houses, but there's going to be more of them on the market to choose from and to see, and maybe be a little bit more picky with what exactly you want in a house.
Yeah, exactly.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, to have the options there's something that we haven't had in a long time. You have options and you have time, and then again, be decisive when you see something that you like.
Yes. A real life example of this is that recently we had a family coming from Seattle, relocating here, and they had 2 kids, so they needed a strong school district. They wanted space in the backyard and some other criteria, and they were thinking that it was going to be this crazy market that they're outbid, and that they were nervous about it.
Yeah.
So we sat them down and
set the new expectations for 2026, and
Right.
it was great to see the process taking everything. They ended up in Williamson County. My favorite is just it's like a golf cart neighborhood, so that everyone's driving around their golf carts, and all the neighbors know each other, and so. But that took some time for them to figure out, the different pockets and different parts of town that they wanted to be in, but finally
Right.
found a place that, you know, they're already
And they
calling
did
their
our
forever
3-day
home.
tour,
Exactly.
too, which was
Yeah.
great. Or,
Yeah.
you know, our suggested 3-day visit.
Yeah, well, because they're actually looking in Wilson County. We you know, we went that way, and then they, again, for them, it wasn't as
It wasn't
much
the
about
vibe. It wasn't,
yeah, it wasn't the
quite
vibe,
a match.
and it
right?
wasn't really, they didn't care as much about the county as they cared about the specific neighborhood that they found. So that was cool to see.
Right.
So again, it's not always county. It can be, what is this specific neighborhood, wherever it is. You know, what's the feel, what's the vibe with what you're looking for. So just a cool story that yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so this strategy, I think, will be here for this year, and at least next year, our strategy will be the same. I think this is where the market is going to be for the next 2 years at least.
I agree. And for families who are serious about moving here, you know, you just want to make sure you're pre-approved by a lender. You know what you're looking for. You're working with a local expert, aka us, right?
Exactly.
And you know, you can move decisively on a great house once you find it.
Yeah.
And we would obviously help you with that and help guide you through that whole process.
Yeah. Yeah, so hopefully
But
this eliminates.
it's a good window.
Yeah,
I think it's
it
a
is.
really good window for buyers coming in.
Yeah, but there's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of news, you know, so hopefully this quiets your nerves a little bit, gives you a better idea of what's actually happening in this area. And so if you're deciding between another city and Nashville, hopefully this helps you make the move to Nashville, because it's definitely better here.
It's a great place to be.
Yeah. Hope this video helped. Again, book a call with us. Can't wait to meet you. Check out our next video popping up right now. Go down the rabbit hole, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Later.